G'day legends, it's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here. Before we get stuck into another great interview brought to you by Crannk.com and that metalstation.com, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and that way you can keep up to date with all the best music and interviews from all over the world. Okay then, hey, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with Crannk.com and with that metalstation.com. So tonight, wherever you are in the world, I'm having a chat with guitarist Rod Rodrigues, who recently released his great EP, Tales of a Changing Life Part 1 EP album. It's a great bloody listen, man. It came out May 20th. I'm really enjoying it. Rod, cheers for joining me to find out some more about yourself and the latest release.
Oh, thank you very much, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Absolute pleasure, man, to get to talk to you and find out some more about you. You're an amazing guitarist. Watched a whole heap of videos over there on YouTube, man. Can I ask how did this journey begin for you? How did you first get into guitar? Tell me about that story of when you first picked up a guitar and how that began, mate.
Oh, that was just yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I started playing drums when I was around like 11 years old, I think. One of my dad's friend, his son used to play drums, and he wanted to get a new kit for him. And then instead of selling the kit, he gave that kit for me, And then I got that kit. I was trying to play some Metallica, and only by ear. I've never had lessons, and I can't play drums anymore. But actually, that helped me a lot because, like, for all my compositions, I write the drums basically, and I use like a drum machine. And then I record the demos, and then I send to the musicians, and they kind of record almost what I wrote for them, So I know how the instrument works. But about the guitar, my mom, she always used to play guitar at the house and singing. My mom, she's a great singer. She doesn't like me to say that, but she doesn't understand English, so it's fine. If she watches it, she'll be fine. Anyway, she was like constantly playing acoustic guitar, and singing around the house, and I like, of course, later I got more interested for guitar, right? And I would say I was like around 13 years old, and that was like back in the 90s. When like Guns N' Roses was like, was the biggest thing in the world, like Slash. And of course, like I'm from that generation who had like Slash as their heroes. He was one of my heroes back then. I can't say anymore like he's still my hero. No, like he was very important for me when I started, until I got more into metal, like Metallica and Megadeth, Testament, and like guys like Marty Friedman and Alex Skolnick. They were very important for me in the beginning. Until like I heard Yngwie Malmsteen the first time, right? That was like a huge punch on my face. I was like, what is that? Like from a kid, like from 90s, who knew only Slash and all those metal bands. And like when I heard about Yngwie Malmsteen, I was like, holy, what is that? And then that changed my mind, changed my life completely. Yeah, it was basically like that. My first teacher was my cousin. she was a guitar teacher, like acoustic guitar teacher.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how I started.
And the rest is history. So what?
It has history.
So it would have been. What was it like growing up in Brazil back then? You know what I mean? Being a young metalhead, having all those different influences as well from the South American music as well. The metal influences. I can hear it now a lot in the latest release. But what was it like being a young metalhead, getting into the guitar and kind of growing and evolving as a musician down there?
Yeah, and you know what? The people probably don't know there that in like in different countries. For example, I'm in Canada. I live in Canada
Yeah, I know
now,
you live in Canada now. Yes.
and like the people don't realize how the rock and metal scene is huge in Brazil.
Yeah, I know.
Really
I've chatted to.
huge.
I've spoken to a lot of people down from South America, Brazil, Mexico, and all those
Yeah.
countries around South America. There,
Yeah,
man.
Argentina is also a huge thing
Yeah,
there.
it's amazing the music that's
Yeah.
coming out of there, and it's always interested me. You know what it was like growing up in these countries. You know what I mean, and the different influences and sounds and that.
Yeah. Like I know that many people know like artists that come from Brazil, like not only Sepultura and Angra, for example, but like pop singers like Anita, that she was pretty popular nowadays. But actually, there are a lot of headbangers there, and rock scene is huge, and the people really love it. Love it. Like the concerts in Brazil are crazy. And now I see that difference because first time that I saw a concert in a different country, it was in Paris. And it was like a huge difference. I was like, whoa, it's not like this in Brazil at all. You know, the people were like go insane there, insane. And like, I'm glad that I grew up there. Yep. You know, I'm glad for that because I could like hear all those bands like Sepultura when I was a kid. Like I was a big fan of Sepultura, Max Cavalera, Andreas Kisser, Angra. I like Angra a lot. Kiko Loureiro, actually, later I got like a few lessons with him. And Angra was a big thing, like back in the 90s. It still is.
Yeah.
There are a lot of bands there. There's Dr. Scene. I love Dr. Scene. I don't know if you know, but it's a hard rock band.
Yep.
And the guitar player, also, I got some lessons with him like for years. He's like a mix of Ed Van Halen with Yngwie Malmsteen, you know, and a little more like bluesy, you know. It's fantastic. Like there are like fantastic bands in Brazil. It was really cool being there and like going to those concerts, watching all those artists. Like that was like great for me, like as a musician, as a rocker and a metalhead. And a metalhead, I can say that like I don't have enough hair anymore, but we still try, right?
I know, I still try. I'm holding on to this now as the last vestige of my youth, that's for sure. Can you tell me a little bit about starting this album, man, The Tales of a Changing Life? When did you go, look, I want to make an album. I really want to make a progressive instrumental album and really show what I can do with guitar, but also tell stories through these soundscapes as well?
Yeah, actually, Tales of a Changing Life is my second release. I have a first one that I released in 2010, called The First Step Introduction. And actually, that's a question that I made to myself, why I took so long to release a new album slash EP, you know, because like I'm like full-time musician. I teach and I play with I do like some hard gun work, like with some different artists with different styles. Of course, like I love rock and metal and stuff, but I had to do like basically everything, playing like basically everything, all kind of music. And my first release, the First Step Introduction, was more like blues rock, you know, more like a kind of Richie Kotzen, with a little bit of John Mayer and a little bit of Greg Howe. Was a huge influence for me. Another guy that I fortunately had the opportunity to have some lessons with him. So it was completely different back then. But actually, there's some songs like Kiss on the Heart. There's a little bit of Pink Floyd there. There's also like the Distance. It's like a mix of Steve Vai and Dream Theater. I'm a huge Dream Theater fan. I've always loved those guys. I had a big collection. I have like 3 John Petrucci's guitar signature, the signature models. Like I'm a huge fan. But actually that style, that blues rock, it's more like for guitar and singers, like Richie Kotzen and like Richie Sambora or Joe Bonamassa. They're like great singers and great players, right? But I was not a great singer. So then I decided, I shouldn't do that anymore because I don't want to sing. And also I feel limited to playing only blues rock. I wanted to explore different styles. Like on the new one, the Tales of a Changing Life, you can hear some of Brazilian music in it. Also like some jazz, some a little bit of French music, and a little bit of a soundtrack, because I love soundtracks. And so that's why I decided, okay, so why not going towards like progressive music, because I can explore different styles. I still can play heavy if I want. Like I have been working on the second part, because that's the first part. Have been working on the second part. The second part is going to be a little heavier. There's a 7-string song, and I play a 7 strings guitar song for that one. And so I can explore different styles. I really like that. I really like, as I said, I love Dream Theater. I love bands like Rush, Yes, Marillion, but I still like Megadeth a lot. I love Symphony X, Testament, as I said, Death.
That must be the thing about being in this genre and the progressive, metal scene, because you can change and, go from those, those jazz fusion melodies and jump over to some prog and then some metal and even have, a bit of those rock vibes through it. You're not kind of limited to just, you know what I mean? Like one style. With prog, you can go all over the place, and progressive metal fans and metal fans in general just take that and go on the journey. And I love when I put on an instrumental progressive album and it's your mind can just go on a journey through these soundscapes as well. Like, yes, Rod, you are telling a story with Tales of a Changing Life, and it's your story, but it's also interpretive to the listener as well. Like when you listen to an album like this, you find your thoughts when you're really getting into an album. I do. I find my thoughts going all over the place and then coming back to the music, and then I'm somewhere else, but the music has transported me there through my mind. You know what I mean? Like when you're sitting there and you're in a different place, your mind goes all over the place. You go on these little journeys through these soundscapes that these artists have created, like yourself.
Oh, cool. Yeah, actually, that was my intention. I wanted to take the listener, to let's say like a different dimension. To other dimension, that's what I wanted. Actually, I like some people, they ask me, oh, why don't you shred more? Like, oh, I used to do that. So there's just like a lot.
Oh, yeah, I know.
There's a lot of shredding.
Yeah, man, that physical distancing one, when you watch that, dude, there's some insane amount of shredding on that. And there's shredding all good, dude. And with the guests and everything on there. So if they're saying there's not shredding, they're not listening to it enough, I think.
Yeah, there's still a lot of shredding there. But I like the mix of shredding and melody.
Yeah.
Like I love guys like Steve Vai. As we were talking about, like, okay, Steve Vai is a guy that he mixes everything in his music. Yeah. Right? It's absolutely everything. Steve Vai. So I love Steve Vai. I love Andy Timmons, who was the Dangerous guitar player, but he has like a fantastic solo career, and I love Andy Timmons. He's one of my favorite guitar players of all times. But it's still like a little bit of fusion, like Scott Henderson and Greg Howe, as I said, and blues rock. That's why I like the progressive music, because we can like basically mix everything.
Yeah, and as a guitarist and a musician yourself, you probably don't want to just play. I've spoken to not many musicians that just want to play one style of music. You know what I mean? So as a guitarist and musician, it must be fun for you to be able to play, and you're learning. You're always constantly learning. I know I'm learning doing this as well as you're a musician. You're constantly learning. So just playing one style, you're never going to learn, grow, and evolve.
Yeah. And you know what? Like my previous release was with a band. It's completely different. It was a metal band, like thrash death metal. It's called Enemies of Reality. If you want to check on it's one on Spotify and YouTube. It's a kind of arch enemy with Death and Testament all blended. It was like that. So, and from that, I released this completely progressive, instrumental progressive album, right? So
that must be fun for you. And
oh yeah, that's
constantly
cool.
thinking as well, like giving you ideas. That makes you a better musician. Like I've spoken to a few guys that have different bands on the go of different genres. It's like not getting it makes the other band and the other project, they feed off each other and always improve each other. You know what I mean? So it would have been fun getting all these artists together as well. I noticed it's got a huge contingent of South American artists on there, so it would have been great for you to kind of get this all together, right?
Oh yeah. And I had like some friends recording with me, like old friends. Yeah, like the drummer Rodrigo Abelha, he's like an old friend. Like also Dalton Santos, who recorded one of the solos for physical distancing.
Yeah,
he's an old friend, and he's playing with Felipe Andreoli. He was touring with him. Felipe Andreoli is the Anger's bass player. Yeah. Also, he played with Jeff Tate. I think he did some gigs with Jeff Tate. Yeah. And also Renato Osorio. He was the hybrid guitar player. I know he works as a producer. He was the guy who did the mixing.
Yep.
You know, and it was fantastic having those guys. And I have like people from Brazil, have like people from Canada who recorded. From Italy, like Marcus Fogli, who recorded the solo for Woodbine Sunset. So there's a little bit of everything from people from different parts of the world, and I love that.
Yeah, and it would have been fun to kind of get this together as well too, because everyone being all over the world, but kind of at the time you probably were getting it all together. It was like everyone was sitting at home in lockdown, all working from home, doing their thing as well. So it's probably the ideal time to be able to keep your mind busy and active and working and getting this together.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened, because like everything happened like during the pandemic. Like I recorded and I wrote some songs during the pandemic, like physical distancing. It's obviously that I recorded and I wrote it during the pandemic. And there's something interesting about physical distancing. Actually, that was the last song that I recorded, and that song's supposed to be done earlier. But there were some delays, and when was the time that I recorded the guitar, all the solos, because all the rhythm was already recorded, I had COVID. So I recorded the guitars when I had COVID. So I was sick and recording the guitar. But actually, yeah, I don't know if that was the destiny. Okay, this is the destiny that Rod's supposed to have the DCEs when he has to record the guitar, right? I don't know, but probably that also made me play like with more feeling. Probably I got more into it. I got really deep when I was recording this song. I was very emotional when I recorded, because I was feeling that at the moment, you know. And actually that song like turned to one of my favorites of the album, you know. But anyway, so and that everything like happening during the pandemic, and you know,
that YouTube vid for that is really cool as well, dude. I like the way your YouTube's vid, man, because these days it's like not like, you know, you can jump over to what was it, MTV, I suppose, on that side of the world. It was here Rage late nights, you'd get like a couple of hours of heavy metal or whatever. It's like YouTube now is the place everybody goes to for music clips and content, and to be able to get people on your YouTube channel, I suppose, is a big deal, and to constantly have that content. And I notice it's really well done, professionally done, man. All your guitar clips and everything over there look sweet, man. And you know, it must be fun kind of getting that content together, but it does take a lot of bloody work, man.
Oh, yes. a lot of work. And you know what? I don't know how good is for this generation, like that they kind of watch music, they kind of don't listen to music, like the young kids, for example. I deal with kids. Yeah, I deal with kids all the time because I teach, right? And most of them, first of all, they watch it on YouTube.
Yep.
And then if they get interested for that band or for that artist, then they will try to listen to their album. So I don't know how good that is, because like when I was 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, the last thing that I would watch would be the video, because
you'd never get see it. Like I was saying, like we'd have it like 2 a.m. if you're lucky. We'd get an hour or two on rage of heavy music, and you go to the record store. You'd be the same, Rod. I bet you do the same. Yeah. You go to the record store and pick out albums. Sometimes you probably had heard one song of maybe, or you just grabbed it because you love the artwork on it.
Oh yeah.
You take it home and you play it over and over and over again. And the joy of listening to whole albums, man, I still love it. Like especially albums I haven't heard before. Like when I got the email on this one, I'm like, dude, put it in, and then it's like, wow, you know what I mean? You're listening to new albums and whole albums and going on these journeys, like you're saying. Some of the generations
I'm like that too.
Are forgetting that what a joy that is to sonically listen to a whole album. That's why another reason I love vinyls and the resurgence of like media. Like
me too.
Vinyls.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too. I love vinyls.
Buying albums, I'm just a sucker for it. Even if I just put it on my computer and put the album away, and rip it out once in a blue moon, I still got to have those albums and listen to whole albums.
Oh yeah, because we, you know what? Like, I really like to read who was the producer, who wrote the lyrics, who recorded, where the album was recorded. So I love that. I still like that. And that's why I still buy them. What?
That was our Google back in when we were younger. You know what I mean? You rip open the book and you're like, oh yeah, they sang that band. Now I'm going to go check that band out.
No Google.
No Google back then, mate. Hey, Rod, I'm going to play Physical Distancing. Can you pick another track off the album to play with this? And why you want?
Okay. Probably Woodbine Sunset.
Yeah. Cool track.
Woodbine Sunset.
Good
choice.
I
love that song. And actually it's the most, let's say, okay, there's a little bit of metal there, but there's also a little bit of Brazilian music, as I said, and also a lot of progressive. And I like the riff. I really like the guitar solo. And that song.
Yeah, it's a great release. Everyone jump over and grab the Rod Rodrigues Tales of a Changing Life Part 1. Came out May 20th. I'll put in links for it all down below. Make sure you get it. Put it in the stereos. Crank it up really loud. You are going to enjoy it. Rod, do you have any last words, shout outs, or thank yous you'd like to add in there, my friend?
Oh, thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me. I loved it. And it's also great talking with people, like sharing my experience. And, and meeting people from different parts of the world, like you from Australia, and I'm here on the other side in Canada. It's always cold. It's always cold. Yeah.
It's starting to get cold here, but not like there. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's getting warm here. Yeah. Right. Because the summer is coming. Yeah. So thank you very much, you guys. And thank you everybody who listened to my new EP, Tales of a Changing Life Part 1. Part 2 is coming next year, hopefully. I have been working on it. And if you guys want to check more about my work, you guys can check my website, www.rodrodrigues.net. I also have like physical copies on my Bandcamp. You guys can check my Bandcamp. There's everything on my website. You guys can check there. And I also can send it like to Australia and Japan, like everywhere.
Global. Everyone get onto it. Rod Rodrigues, this has been an absolute pleasure, mate. Have to have another chat soon. Thank you very much, mate.
Thank you very much, man.
Cheers.